friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. We have a fun video today. My pantry is a mess. I'm just gonna admit it. This is my working pantry, the pantry that is just your typical little closet style pantry that we use for our everyday items. This is not our food storage pantry, it's not our home canning, and it's not our like 5-bucket rotation. This is just the average pantry that I'm in and out of every day, and it is a mess. So in the past, my pantry was a pain point for me because it would stay messy constantly. I would do like a big organization about once a month, and it would only stay organized for about 3 days with just 5 people coming in and out of it constantly throughout the day. So I spent some time thinking about it and planning it and looking at storage solutions, and about 3 years ago I purchased a few containers and set up my pantry a certain way, and ever since then I have only have to do this really big reorganization period about once a year. And it does get messy, but nothing like it was before. It stays nice and organized for the most part for a long time. Now it's been about a year since I have done this, so what you're about to see is unfiltered, don't judge me, like really dirty and cluttered and needs some work. So that's what we're going to do today. Throughout this video, I want to pause and share 4 tips that have absolutely transformed my pantry woes into a pantry joys, and has just made it so much nicer to cook meals out of this pantry every single day, 3 meals a day, and keep it nice and organized. And 4 of those storage solutions, and also just little tips and tricks for managing a pantry in conjunction with your long-term food storage. So we do store a lot of things in bulk. How does that work into our everyday use pantry? How do we make sure we're rotating through our goods? That's one of the topics we're going to address in this video today as well. Okay, let me show you a panning up and down of my pantry, and remember, don't judge me, be sweet. Okay, here we go.
By the way, if you would like help building your food storage, scroll down to the description box of this video and click this link for our free 1-year food storage plan. We calculated a year's supply of food for one person, then broke that data down into a week-by-week list of items to build your pantry on a budget. We'll send it straight to your inbox. If you're new here, we invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss all of our upcoming food preservation, pantry storage, and gardening tutorials. Now back to the kitchen.
Here we go. Okay, we'll start at the floor, work our way up to these terribly disorganized shelves. There's just no rhyme or reason to any of this stuff, and that's just how it gets after many months of not doing what we're about to do today. Okay, step 1, take everything out. And it doesn't matter where things go at this point, we're just gonna plop it out there.
Salt isn't really food.
Well, we're just getting everything out. Careful, that's glass. There's also, Hattie, there's also some open bags of things in here, and if we turn them upside down, they're going to spill, so let's be careful with that too.
Right. Hey, stop.
It's okay.
Hattie, you just dropped the taco. Hey, stop filming. Raising in front of people.
We're not taking any of this bottom stuff out, okay?
Mom, look at this salt.
That's that pink salt that I vacuum sealed, and that's before I knew I shouldn't vacuum seal salt. And it turned into a brick.
Hershey.
Mm-hmm.
She held up the rock like this, and then I was like, Hershey.
Okay.
Why do we have so much stuff? Well, you better be happy. We sure do. Man, all this food is taking all of the stuff. Chickpea flour. Chickpea flour. Oh, chickpea flour. No, chickpea flour. We have time to dig up everything.
Oh, look, Hattie, here's some collagen. That's what we needed for the gummy bears.
We need collagen for gummy bears?
Yeah, yeah.
What are you doing bringing that? What?
Maybe you and Grams can make some before she leaves today.
Sylvester? Yeah, she's still filming. Or she's still filming some. Is this block craft? Very popular. Yeah, but I can't reach anything else.
I'll get the rest.
Oh, we have waffle mix up here? You could have told us.
You discover all sorts of things when you clean out a pantry, don't you?
Oh, popcorn! Yum! I
Mm-hmm.
did not even know we had popcorn. She's been hiding all this from us.
I've been hiding it.
Popcorn. And give me. Mom, this is
Mhm.
a fridge. It doesn't cost much. That's all. Echo.
Okay, thank you. Okay, here we go. Empty pantry except for that bottom. And now we're just going to do some cleaning. I'm going to get some vinegar in a rag and just clean up all of these racks that just have random crumbs and stuff on them. And I will pull these out and sweep, get that nice and clean. I'll probably rub over just a little vinegar rub over that floor as well. Just kind of disinfect it a little bit. Okay, everything is wiped down. Before we get into all of the groceries that are on my counter at the moment, I want to talk about tip number 1 for pantry organization that has really just made things so much easier for me, and that is to get all of my dry goods and bulk goods into boxes. So I have clear boxes that I can see so that I can visually monitor the inventory and be able to rotate through my pantry a lot easier. So for the most part, each one of these boxes corresponds to a 5-gallon bucket. Now that's not the case for all of them because some of them we just don't go through enough to need to stock in bulk, like the almond flour and gluten-free flour. But I still have a box for them because we still use them somewhat regularly. But for the most part, I have 16 boxes down here, and for the most part each box corresponds to a 5-gallon bucket, and that's how I can make sure that I'm rotating through our bulk goods pantry and yet keeping it in an easy to access location and organizational format, just to make my life easier in the kitchen from day to day. Okay, let's tackle the massive mess on the counter. Now it's time to go through all of the contents and organize them. So the first thing I do is just go through and throw out anything that is really, really old. Now I am not a stickler for expiration dates. Many expiration dates are simply best by dates. So just because it's past the date written on the box doesn't mean I'm going to throw it away. But I'll just make that judgment call for each individual thing and go from there. Next step is I'm going to take out anything that can go in a container and I'm going to put it in a container. If it's realistic, I'm not going to go crazy with it. That's another thing with pantry organization. I don't go out and buy a bunch of boxes and organizational stuff. I did that once, and this system has continued to work for me year after year, and I don't have to buy anything else for it. A lot of these boxes are things that like grandparents have given us or we've gotten from church family. And I really cannot stand food waste, so even if it's something we don't eat a whole lot, it's still in our pantry, and I either need to put it in a pile of things to eat quickly, or find someone to give them to, pass them along to. I'm looking particularly at this Belgian waffle mix and this Quaker oatmeal mix. I think our children absolutely love oatmeal. We eat it most weekdays, so I think I'm going to set that out in a pile and go ahead and, instead of using our bulk oats that we store in bulk, just go ahead and work through that box. And then maybe we'll have pizza, or excuse me, breakfast for supper, maybe a couple of weeks in a row on Friday nights. We typically do breakfast for supper every other Friday, but maybe we'll just go ahead and have waffles for breakfast on a Friday night for the next couple weeks and get rid of that box. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's talk about tip number 2. I have this can here and I have a couple cans, but other than that, if you were to peruse through my counter right now, you would notice a serious lack of canned goods. Does that mean I don't use canned goods? No, but that is the number 2 tip that has transformed my pantry and removed a lot of those pain points. For me was, first of all, I couldn't see the canned goods. Number 2, it was hard to rotate. Number 3, I would be reaching into the shelf to get something and I would knock over that canned good and it would inevitably get dented, which means I need to use it pretty quickly, and it was just frustrating. So what I did was, my sweet husband built me a can organizer and I moved all of our canned goods out of the pantry and put them in their own separate little area. Let me show you that real quick. Okay, sorry for the lighting in here, y'all, and my laundry room is very narrow. Like, I'm at the opposite wall and I can almost touch the wall. That's how narrow this laundry room is. But this is the canned good rack that my husband built me. He just used just a bunch of wood, and screws is all he needed for this project. It's a fairly simple build and it helps rotation. So now that we are working towards our goal of growing and canning most of our food, we have narrowed down our canned goods dramatically to basically sweet peas, diced tomatoes, and mixed vegetables. We used to buy pork and beans, but we no longer buy those anymore because those are super easy to make with some navy beans that we have on hand. And we used to purchase evaporated milk, but we don't anymore. We're just working through what we have left, because powdered milk, we have found, tastes much better and it stores a lot more compactly as well. So getting the canned goods out of my working pantry was a game changer for my pantry organization. Hope that helps, gives y'all just a couple ideas of what you can do as an alternative way to store your canned goods. Okay, back to that messy counter. Ooh, chickpea flour. Okay, it's kind of a weird thing to have, right? Chickpea flour. But when we were, for a couple of years there, we had to be gluten-free, grain-free, like everything free. And we discovered a chocolate chip peanut butter cookie recipe that was gluten-free and grain-free, and it was using chickpeas. Now, it was using canned chickpeas, and we would pour that in our food processor, and it would form a smooth dough. And I got this. This was on a closeout sale for dirt cheap. I got, I think, 10 pounds of it because I was looking at the chickpea flour and I was like, you know what? I could just add water to this and have my dough instantly instead of buying a bunch of cans, which take up a lot of space. And so it was a great buy. But I realized that we don't go through it as fast. So I have maybe 6 or 7 bags. This doesn't need to be taking up space in my everyday pantry. So what I'm going to do is keep one container. Actually, I think I have a chickpea flour box down there. So I'm going to take all of these and put them into Mylar bags and put an oxygen absorber in them, and this is going to go into my long-term pantry storage. And yes, someday soon we will absolutely do a recipe video for you for those grain-free, gluten-free chickpea cookies. They're delicious. Okay, let's address tip number 3 real quick because I'm coming across little random boxes of raisins. I've got some liquid IV electrolytes. I've got some random packages of yeast. So one of the other tips that has just transformed my pantry is having hooks on the inside of the door and putting baskets. So let me turn the camera around and show you that. So on the inside of my pantry door here, I have 3 levels of hooks. I've got one right up here, just off camera, one here, and one here. And these are just Dollar Tree bins, and I'm able to just set those on the hooks, and that's where random, let me bring this down so you can see it better. This is where it catches random small items like random package of yeast, electrolyte drinks, and a few boxes of raisins. And whenever I come across things throughout the week or throughout the month, because remember, I only have to do this really big reorganization thing only like once a year. So as I come across random little boxes of things that don't really have a home and don't really need to go into a container, or don't need to go into a sealed container, I should say, I will just plop it into the baskets. I'll have 3 baskets on here, and that will help me to keep that chaos contained. Okay, tip number, what are we on, 3 or 4? I can't remember. But this is another thing that has made my life so much easier day to day in my pantry, and that is having a miscellaneous chip box with a measuring scoop for portion control for my kiddos. So my husband absolutely loves chips, and he comes home with all sorts of chips. He loves to snack on them, but when they get to the bottom where all those chips are kind of crumbled up, he doesn't like those anymore, and we'll just have like little random pieces of bags of crumbled up chips. And instead of throwing them away, what I do is I have a miscellaneous chip box, and my children will be allowed to get 1 scoop from the miscellaneous chip box every now and then for a snack. And I keep a portion control cup in here so that they're not eating a ton of it. And I'll just go through and empty out all of these little small portions of random chip bags. And they will go into this chip box. I still have a few more to go through, I think, but then this miscellaneous chips just goes in here, and every now and then when they ask for a special snack that's out of the ordinary than their usual snacks, they can get a scoop of these miscellaneous chips, and it helps just get rid of all those random little bags of broken up chips at the bottom of the bag. This is a big box of clear gel that I will use for canning up pie fillings. This is a kind of a big container. It doesn't need to be in my working pantry. I'm going to go ahead and put this up on a canning shelf. I am noticing a lot of trail mix ingredients, and I'm just kind of putting those all over there. We like to stock almonds, cashews, and banana chips in bulk. They're just a lot cheaper when you can buy them in bulk. And then we will provide some dehydrated apples. These are like some old papaya. We have cranberries. I'm trying to find the apples. I just had them, yeah. Let's have little jars of random dried fruits, and I'll have a little, when I go to organize my pantry, I'll have a little trail mix bar where they're able to add in whatever fruit they want into their primary trail mix mixture, which usually also has a portion control cup in it, but it's not there now, so I'm gonna have to find that, get that straightened up. Y'all know what this is? This is why you don't vacuum seal salt. This was pink Himalayan salt that I bought years ago before I realized that you don't vacuum seal salt, and this is how I realized it. I vacuum sealed the salt, was ready to use it, opened the package, and it's not completely ruined. I can absolutely run this through my food processor, get it back broken up, and that is what I'll do. That's why I haven't thrown it out yet, but just don't vacuum seal your salt. $2018, and it's bone broth, so I'm going to go ahead and toss that. Some more trail mix ingredients. Random bag of leftover popcorn that's going to go into that random box holder that I was telling y'all about earlier. Oh yeah, sourdough starter. So if you didn't know, if you are into sourdough and you have discard, of course, that's just part of the process of making sourdough, you can dehydrate your discard and save it for later. That way, if something ever happens to your sourdough starter, if it dies, if it dries out too much, or if you lose it, somebody accidentally throws it out thinking it's something bad, moldy, you can have a starter on your shelf to pick back up where you left off without having to start the process all over again. I have 2 little jars of this. Okay. Random bag going into that little box on our door. Those are stupid. Okay, we are about to the point where we are ready to put things in containers that need to go into containers and then start putting things back into the pantry in groups. And the things that I have set on the floor that need to go back into the pantry as is, I'm going to visually group them into like items so that I have a baked goods area, I'll have a tortilla like taco night area, and I'll have some random like sandwich making type stuff, salad dressings. All those will go into certain little areas so that when I'm looking for something specific, I can visually go to one area of the pantry instead of having to search through a whole bunch of stuff. So let's get started. Okay, it is time to get our trail mix bar under control. I've got all sorts of fruits and nuts all dehydrated, and we need to get it all consolidated and organized. So here is our random trail mix box that we mix different types of nuts in. I found a almost empty thing of cashews, so I'm gonna go ahead and pour that in here. I have a open bag half full of almonds, so we're gonna go ahead and get that in here. I'm gonna give that a good stir. And dried banana chips is something that we store in a 5-gallon bucket. They are very cheap when you buy them in bulk, and you can get them unsweetened, so they don't have anything added to them except for sometimes coconut oil, which is good. And it's just a fantastic way to get a healthy snack into your kids and adults. I need a portion control cup. Here we go. Little portion control cup, so when they come and get a trail mix, they can just get a scoop. And I noticed that the disorganization of our pantry led to opening multiple packages of the same product because we didn't realize we already had a package open. So that's what I'm going to do here, just consolidate some dried fruit into these mason jars. Oops. These are prunes. Do you want one? Or you want one? Go ahead. Okay, let's get all of our trail mix bar ingredients set up in the pantry. Okay, y'all, there we have it. Here's that bottom part. It is amazing what some consolidation can do. We have our trail mix station here. I've got all of my bottles of rice vinegars and all sorts of apple cider vinegars and stuff in that little basket right there. That was another pain point for me lately. It's just random bottles keep getting knocked over, and they're glass bottles, so having that in that little basket is going to help me not knock over those glass bottles so often. And then we have our little chip area, our Tex-Mex night stack of tortillas and tacos, bread and crackers, random stuff, and breakfast. Then of course our random basket of miscellaneous stuff, and I found a bunch of random tea bags, so I went ahead and did a little tea thing up there as well. Okay, nice after to compare to the before. I ended up finding just some random bags of like cheesy garlic potato or biscuits and some chicken stuffing, and we're having meatloaf for supper tonight, so I figure I'll just whip those up as side dishes, get those out of my pantry, and I ended up with 5 empty containers, pantry containers. So I've got those on standby for miscellaneous things that come in, and that's incredible that I ended up with 5 containers just from consolidating things, throwing away bad things, and like expired, I mean, and getting things in their right place, such as needing to go in our canned goods storage or needing to go in our long-term storage pantry or something like that. And that will make my life easier with my working pantry day to day. Hope that was helpful to y'all. I hope y'all got a few tips that will help y'all with y'all's pantry, and I had fun. Hope y'all did too. We'll see you next time. Bye.